On Friday, June 13, 2025, something extraordinary happened in the skies over the Middle East. Israeli F-35I Adir stealth fighters flew nearly 2,000 kilometers deep into Iranian territory and successfully struck over 100 targets without requiring a single drop of fuel from aerial tankers. For the first time in combat history, stealth fighters had been secretly modified to achieve what many thought impossible: maintaining their invisible radar signature while carrying enough fuel for one of the longest-range precision strikes ever conducted. Two U.S. defense officials speaking anonymously confirmed that Israel and America had collaborated on secret modifications to the F-35's fuel system that enabled this historic mission. But here's what makes this achievement truly remarkable. They managed to add massive amounts of extra fuel without compromising the aircraft's most critical feature: its ability to remain nearly invisible to enemy radar systems. What you're about to discover is how American and Israeli engineers pulled off one of the most significant advances in stealth fighter technology since the F-35 first took flight. The implications of this breakthrough extend far beyond just one military operation. If you're fascinated by cutting-edge military technology and want to understand how our forces continue to stay ahead of emerging threats, type yes in the comments below. Let us know what aspects of modern military innovation interest you most. The story begins with a fundamental problem that has plagued military planners for decades. The standard F-35A Lightning II has a publicly stated combat range of roughly 700 miles, while the shortest distance between Israel and Iran is roughly 620 miles one way. That might seem like enough range, but remember, combat missions require fuel reserves for maneuvering, engaging targets, and dealing with unexpected situations. Simply flying to Iran and back wasn't the challenge. It was carrying enough fuel to loiter over targets, engage in combat, and return safely home. For years, this range limitation forced military planners to rely on aerial refueling tankers, those large, vulnerable aircraft that meet fighters in midair to transfer fuel. But tankers present enormous risks in contested airspace. They're massive, slow, and completely defenseless against modern surface-to-air missiles. Iran has spent decades building one of the most sophisticated air defense networks in the world, specifically designed to detect and destroy exactly these types of support aircraft. Israel possesses only 7 Boeing 707 refueling tankers, a tiny fleet compared to the massive operation they were planning. The June 13th strikes involved over 200 fighter jets and launched 330 munitions, far more aircraft than their small tanker fleet could support during a sustained operation deep in enemy territory. This is where American and Israeli engineers began working on what can only be described as surgical modifications to the F-35. Richard Abulafia, an aerospace expert, told Middle East Eye that the Israelis, with U.S. cooperation, practically did surgery on an existing jet to make this modification. The solution they developed involved external drop tanks, but not just any drop tanks. These had to be specially designed to maintain the F-35's stealth characteristics, one of the most challenging engineering problems in modern aviation. The F-35 contains radar-absorbent materials, and its entire engineering is designed to avoid detection. Any change to the body could compromise those features. Initial design studies had been completed by Israel Aerospace Industries and a subsidiary of Elbit Systems on both external 600-gallon drop tanks as well as conformal fuel tanks. The 600-gallon tanks would add approximately 4,000 pounds of fuel each, increasing the F-35I's total fuel capacity by approximately 40%, from just over 18,500 pounds to more than 26,500 pounds. But here's the brilliant part of the engineering solution. The pylons holding the drop tanks would reportedly detach as well, so as not to compromise stealth when the tanks were jettisoned as the aircraft approached enemy airspace. This means the F-35s could fly the first portion of their journey carrying massive external fuel tanks, then drop both the tanks and their mounting points before entering Iranian airspace, restoring their full stealth capability. The technical challenges of this modification cannot be overstated. One challenge noted by the Aviationist magazine in 2021 was that once the tank was dropped, It could expose other parts of the aircraft to radar because the attachment points and fuel lines would not be covered by any radar-absorbing material. Solving this required developing ejectable pylons and ensuring that every exposed surface maintained the aircraft's radar-absorbing properties. Reports from 2021 mention that the Israeli Air Force Flight Testing Center at Tel Nof AFB was developing the external drop tanks that would help the Adir complete long-range missions over third circle targets, military terminology referring to threats that don't share a border with Israel, like Iran. The timing of this development is particularly significant. In 2021, Israel's Walla News reported that the Israeli Air Force was working on a drop tank for the F-35I Adirs. The report at the time said Israel could finish the modification in 2 years. The June 2025 attack marked exactly 4 years since that initial report, suggesting this capability had been in development and testing for an extended period. On the morning of June 13, 2025, this years-long engineering effort was put to the ultimate test. Under the codename Operation Rising Lion, the Israel Defense Forces and Mossad launched strikes against key nuclear sites, military installations across Iran. The strikes involved Lockheed Martin F-35s and F-16s as well as Boeing F-15s and targeted multiple sites across Iran, including the Natanz nuclear enrichment facility. The modified F-35I Adir fighters led the way, their stealth capabilities allowing them to penetrate Iranian airspace undetected and begin the systematic dismantling of Iran's air defense network. Israel says it has largely knocked out Iran's air defenses, and that it can now strike targets across the country at will. What makes this achievement even more remarkable is the strategic advantage it provides. Having fewer aircraft dependent on tankers would allow more fuel to be shared among remaining aircraft and increase the tanker's range and on-station time. This means Israel's small tanker fleet could focus on supporting other aircraft types while the F-35s operated independently. The success of these modifications represents more than just a tactical victory. It's a fundamental shift in air power projection. U.S. officials told Middle East Eye that the scale of Israel's Friday attack and the surprise nature of it mean the improvement is a sea change for the F-35. But the story doesn't end with a successful strike. The technology demonstrated on June 13th has implications that extend far beyond the Middle East. The F-35's performance is going to be carefully studied by Middle Eastern countries looking to acquire them, as well as the U.S.'s foes, China and Russia. Other nations operating F-35s will undoubtedly be interested in similar modifications. Countries like the United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, and South Korea all face potential scenarios where extended range without aerial refueling could prove decisive. The collaboration between American and Israeli engineers has essentially opened a new chapter in F-35 capability development. The technical knowledge gained from this project also advances the broader field of stealth aircraft design. Proposed upgrades for the U.S. Air Force's F-22 fleet also include low-drag tanks and pylons, a concept that may well have something in common with the solution adopted by the IAF for its F-35s. From an industrial perspective, this development showcases the unique relationship between American defense contractors and Israeli aerospace companies. Israel Aerospace Industries was to manufacture the outer wings of Israel's F-35s and may also play a role in the development of a proposed two-seat F-35. This partnership model allows for innovative solutions that might not emerge from traditional single-nation development programs. The timing of this capability reveal also coincides with broader strategic shifts in the region. Iran had amassed 409 kilograms of 60% pure uranium by May 2025, which is higher than required for civilian uses and close to military grade. United States Central Command Commander Michael Kurilla warned on June 10, 2025, that Iran was weeks away from nuclear weapons. This context makes the successful demonstration of extended-range strike capability particularly significant. The ability to conduct precision strikes without relying on vulnerable aerial refueling assets provides military planners with options that simply didn't exist before these modifications. The engineering achievement also demonstrates the continued evolution of the F-35 platform. Unlike earlier fighter aircraft that remained largely static after initial production, the F-35's open architecture design allows for continuous upgrades and modifications. Israel has special arrangements with Lockheed Martin to make independent changes and additions to the underlying mission software in the F-35I and to operate the aircraft without having to rely on the Autonomic Logistics Information System. Looking ahead, this successful modification program likely represents just the beginning of F-35 range extension efforts. Israel was also working on initial design studies for conformal fuel tanks specific to the F-35, which would be most beneficial in reducing any detrimental impact on the F-35's radar cross-section and would also free up hardpoints for weapons. Conformal fuel tanks, which hug the aircraft's fuselage rather than hanging beneath it, could provide even greater range extension while maintaining stealth characteristics throughout the entire mission. This technology could eventually make aerial refueling unnecessary for many long-range strike missions. The broader implications for air warfare are profound. For decades, aerial refueling has been both an enabler of long-range operations and a critical vulnerability. Tanker aircraft require fighter escorts, operate from predictable flight patterns, and present high-value targets for enemy forces. The ability to eliminate this dependency fundamentally changes how air campaigns can be planned and executed. From a deterrence perspective, the demonstrated capability sends a clear message to potential adversaries. The knowledge that stealth fighters can now operate at previously impossible ranges without support aircraft forces enemy planners to reconsider their defensive strategies. Air defense systems that were positioned to protect against shorter-range attacks may now be inadequate. The success of Operation Rising Lion also validates years of American investment in Israeli military capabilities. The F-35 procurement is entirely funded by American aid through offset agreements provided to Israel. The technological breakthroughs achieved through this partnership benefit not only Israeli security, but advance American military capabilities as well. For the men and women serving in air forces around the world, these developments represent enhanced mission capability and improved survival odds. Stealth fighters that can operate independently at extended range can complete missions that would have been impossible or prohibitively risky using conventional aircraft and tactics. The engineering principles demonstrated in this program will undoubtedly influence future aircraft design. The ability to add and remove external systems while maintaining stealth characteristics opens new possibilities for modular aircraft configurations. Future fighters might be designed from the outset to accommodate mission-specific modifications that can be installed and removed as needed. As we look toward future conflicts, the ability to project power across vast distances without relying on vulnerable support aircraft becomes increasingly valuable. Potential adversaries are developing anti-access weapons specifically designed to target tankers and other support aircraft. The F-35's demonstrated ability to operate independently removes this vulnerability from the equation. The success of these modifications also highlights the importance of continued investment in research and development. The 4-year timeline from initial concept to operational capability demonstrates that breakthrough technologies require sustained effort and resources. Military planners who began this project in 2021 could not have predicted the exact circumstances that would require its use, but their foresight in developing the capability proved decisive. For allies and partners around the world, the demonstrated capability provides enhanced security guarantees. Nations hosting American or allied forces can have greater confidence that support will be available even in contested environments where aerial refueling might not be possible. The technological achievement also reinforces the importance of maintaining industrial partnerships between allied nations. The collaboration between American and Israeli engineers produced solutions that neither country might have developed independently. This model of cooperative development could become increasingly important as military challenges become more complex. As we conclude this remarkable story of engineering innovation and military capability, it's worth reflecting on what this achievement represents. In just 4 years, engineers from 2 nations took one of the world's most advanced fighter aircraft and fundamentally expanded its operational envelope. They solved complex technical challenges, maintained the aircraft's most critical capabilities, and demonstrated the results in actual combat conditions. The modified F-35I Adir fighters that flew over Iran on June 13, 2025, represent more than just advanced military hardware. They embody the ingenuity, partnership, and technological superiority that continue to ensure the security of free nations around the world. This breakthrough in stealth fighter capability reminds us that technological innovation remains one of the most powerful tools for maintaining peace through strength. When potential adversaries know that democratic nations possess overwhelming technological advantages, they are less likely to pursue aggressive actions that could lead to conflict. The success of Operation Rising Lion and the modified F-35s that made it possible demonstrates that American and allied military forces continue to stay ahead of emerging threats through innovation, partnership, and unwavering commitment to excellence. Thanks for joining us for this in-depth look at one of the most significant advances in military aviation in recent years. If you found this analysis valuable, please like this video and subscribe for more insights into the technologies and capabilities that keep our world secure. What other military innovations would you like us to cover? Let us know in the comments below.